We looked over the last week at an incredible viral interview where Trump lawyer Joe Tacopina went on MSNBC and was interviewed by Ari Melber and lunged for papers, tried to lunge and take papers from Ari Melber's hand. Another Trump lawyer has gone on MSNBC and it went just as poorly, if not worse. Instant collapse from Drew Findling. Drew Findling is a criminal defense attorney. He's really known like as a hip hop attorney because he has represented a number of well-known hip hop musicians. Doesn't make him any better or worse of an attorney. Just it's an interesting thing that Trump has gone with someone who is known really as a hip hop attorney. He went on MSNBC. Ari Melber asked him questions. It really doesn't go well for Findling. Take a look at this.
Same level of passion.
But you're not the judge or the jury in this case. You're the lawyer. We're talking to you not for your conclusions without evidence, but for the evidence you can marshal right now. I'm giving you the time. If you can't do it tonight, if you can't give us any arguments, then we will note that. But let me put up on the screen again for your rebuttal, if you want to take this time.
And importantly, I should mention, this is a defense attorney for Trump in the Georgia case, which I believe is potentially the strongest one.
Election fraud in Georgia. If you request or attempt to cause another person to engage in voter fraud, that's criminal solicitation. If you conspire or agree with another to commit a violation, that is another Georgia statute. Those are both felonies. Those are just two, and there are, as you know, others. Donald Trump, post December 14th, I'll give you the widest possible berth that before it's certified, there are arguments that could be theoretically made about alternate electors. But post December 14th, he's on tape doing it. We have a new call we learned about in the last week demanding it. How is that not soliciting or conspiring fraud?
Yeah, so Ari, I'm familiar, my team is familiar with all those statutes. And while I'm looking at this camera, I could tell you we're incredibly familiar with those statutes. They aren't new to us. We do a lot of political cases.
Sure.
We are absolutely confident, having looked at the evidence, that our client has not violated any of those. We're not going to look at it two-dimensionally. We're going to look at it three-dimensionally.
What did he mean when he said fine?
And he's completely innocent.
But what did he mean when he said find votes that don't exist after certification? What could that possibly mean other than find votes that don't exist?
Well, I will say this, and that is that, again, okay, looking at the entire 62 minutes, putting it all in context, there was nothing illegal said by our client.
That's the best. When Trump said, I need 11,000 votes, give me a break. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have. What did he mean when he said that? Well, you've got to listen to the whole call in context. Oh, really? Did he open the call with everything I'm about to say is merely a joke? What could have preceded that would have made that in any way not a violation of those statutes? And this continued, and Melber just doing everything he can to try to actually get substance from Drew Findling.
That he lost the election and got people to submit false material to the government and everywhere else or conspire to do so, and that's a potential crime.
Now, So Ari, let me tell you, because what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to be a hypocrite and I'm not going to be disingenuous.
Oh, good. Well, then I'm sure he's going to. That's a nice disclaimer.
When I talk about prosecutors who I know very, very well, okay, and have great relationships with, but when I call and say and file something that they went down the political avenue and that has no place in this case, I'm not going to turn around and start being political. Because then,
so understand that this is a case where the facts, this is a classic, particularly for lawyers on TV, where you're not trying the case on TV, at least not overtly. If the facts aren't on your side, you argue about process. It was political and it was the wrong venue and it was all targeting my client unfairly and blah, blah, blah.
I'm a hypocrite for everything that I put in 50 pages. So respectfully, I appreciate you bringing that up. And
I appreciate that you appreciate it. I do appreciate being on the show, but I got to tell you, Drew.
But I'm not going political.
I got to tell you, because
I'm not going political.
I'm giving you time, and I'll give your colleagues time, and we'll have you back. But it is not accurate.
Absolutely.
But this is a case about trying to steal an election. Ascertaining the facts of that is not quote unquote political. It is the beating heart of the center of this case, because Donald Trump lied about it. And it seems today that you're in a you have an inability to acknowledge that he lost the state of Georgia, which is odd because you know he lost the state of Georgia. We all know that.
I don't have an inability to do anything. I have the ability to tell you what I think was in the scope of the questions that I'll answer regarding the filing of 50 pages motion and 400 pages of exhibits about concerns that we have about a special purpose grand jury. Nothing, right, understood. But nothing in that is political from our vantage point. In fact, we call out folks.
He's not going to do anything political at all in terms of answering inconvenient questions. But then when they stuff this filing full of 400 pages of, quote, concerns that are riddled with political concerns, that's not political, according to him. If you're having trouble following this, I don't blame you.
For being political, so I'm not going to be disingenuous and start being political. I'm going to talk about the facts that are contained in there, right? And I'm not going to be put in a position where I have to make one claim or another claim. I am, as you know, you pointed out my relationship to the bar, deeply committed to my profession and deeply committed.
All right. Yeah. So now he's saying he really is committed to being a lawyer. Wow. You know, I thought that I really thought they had Trump dead to rights. By the way, the look on Ari Melber's face here in this still shot kind of says it all. Trump seems like he's super guilty. He seems guilty as hell. But did you know his lawyer is really committed to the practice of law? Oh, he is. Oh, well, then it must be not guilty, I guess. This is a nonsense interview. And I don't really even know whether. So I guess MSNBC wants to do these interviews because they sort of always go like this and it's very cartoonish. I guess the lawyers want to do the interviews because they know probably that Trump doesn't always pay his lawyers. And so if they can get some publicity out of it, then maybe they can make money on the back end from other people hiring them. I don't really know, but they come together and it just instantly implodes. And so the continued interviews with Trump's lawyers not going particularly well. And then closing out our review of the last 24 hours, it also not going particularly well for Donald Trump. One of our sponsors is Zippix nicotine toothpicks. Don't you think it's time you stopped putting smoke and vape oils in your lungs? Zippix toothpicks are a convenient way to curb the nicotine cravings. Zippix toothpicks are super discreet. You can use them anytime, anywhere smoking and vaping aren't allowed, including flights, sporting events, in restaurants. They're available in 6 different flavors with options of 2 and 3 milligrams of nicotine. If you're not a nicotine user, Zippix also offers caffeine and B12 infused toothpicks. Zippix has already helped tens of thousands of customers ditch the cigarettes, ditch the vapes. They might be able to help you too. If you're a smoker or a vapor, give Zippix toothpicks a try. Your lungs will thank you. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com today. Save 10% with the code PACMAN10 at checkout. Just remember, you must be 21 or older to order. The link is down below.